Hey all, Tyler here from e-bike commuting. Today we're going to talk about the Seattle-based e-bike company EVELO and their Omega e-bike. They are so confident that you're going to love their Omega e-bike that they offer a 21-day risk-free trial. If you don't like it after 21 days, send it back to them for a full refund, no hidden restocking fee. They'll even pay for the shipping to ship it back to them. This confidence gives me 1990s Men's Warehouse vibes.
You're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it.
No other e-bike company is willing to do this. At least none that I know of. If you know of one that also offers this, drop it in the comments. But all the ones I've looked at have restocking fees that range from 20% to 50% or even higher. So why is EVELO so confident in their Omega e-bike? To answer that, I took their Omega out for a day of riding on the streets and hills of Seattle. Let's start with some essential stats of the Omega. The Omega ships as a Class 2 e-bike and it can be configured to have a top speed of 25 miles per hour. The bike weighs 64 pounds, has a 750 watt mid-drive motor with 115 Newton meters of torque. It uses a torque sensor with its 5 levels of pedal assist. It has a throttle and has a fully integrated frame battery that gives you up to 60 miles of range. The Omega utilizes a Gates carbon belt drive and it also has an Enviolo automatic shifter. It retails at $3,999. So now let's talk about why EVELO is so confident that you're going to like the Omega. After my day of riding, there were 5 things that stood out to me that make the Omega special. And also there's this one little port that tells me everything I need to know about the company, but more on that later. Let's start with the 5 things I really like about the Omega. The first is that it comes with Enviolo's automatic shifting. It was the first time I'd ridden a bike with automatic shifting and it took a mile or so to get used to, but ultimately it was pleasant to just forget about shifting and just focus on enjoying my ride. Once connected to the e-bike via Bluetooth, you can control the settings for the automatic system using the Enviolo app. The main selection you make in the app is choosing your ideal pedaling cadence. Once selected, the Omega will change the dynamic gears as you ride to ensure that you are always pedaling at the same cadence regardless of the incline. I tried a few different cadence levels and ultimately I found 75 RPM to be the most comfortable. Second is the geometry of the Omega. I have to say I was a bit concerned before I got to the test ride that I wouldn't find the upright position of the e-bike to be very comfortable. I'm 6'2", which is at the top end of the recommended heights for this e-bike, but it actually felt very comfortable and relaxing to ride. And that brings me to number 3. The Omega is sneaky fast for an e-bike with such an upright posture. I call it sneaky fast because it's a step-through frame and the upright riding posture makes it look like you're just out for a casual ride. But it has a 750 watt motor with tons of torque, and that motor is silent. I have never ridden an e-bike with such a quiet motor. The 4th thing I like about the Omega is its torque. If you've seen some of my other videos, you know that I really care about torque when it comes to e-bikes. The Omega has 115 Newton meters of torque, which puts it at the high end of the hill climbing category. The power and torque were demonstrated to me when I encountered a closed bike path due to construction and I had to join a single lane road. So as I merged in behind a line of cars, a taxi came up behind me very aggressively. I could really tell that it wanted to get around me, and the road was starting to rise. I was really worried I would start to slow down and the taxi would do something dumb to get around me. But I pedaled just a little bit harder and the motor responded and kept me at pace with the truck in front of me, so no gaps opened up. The 5th thing I like about the Omega is that it's ideal for commuting, but especially for commuting in wet weather. It has wide, thick tires that make it feel stable on gravel and wet pavement. The rain fenders are long and they provide excellent coverage, and it also has a Gates carbon belt drive with an internal geared hub. This means it can get rain and city grit on it with very little maintenance needed. The only drawback to the Omega, and it's not really a drawback, it's more of just a personal preference, is that upright posture. If you're someone that wants a more, forward-leaned, aggressive posture to your e-bike, you probably want to look for something different, something like the Priority Current, or also EVELO makes the Atlas, which has that more aggressive posture. Also, if you're over 6'2", you're going to probably feel a little awkward on the Omega. Now let's talk about that little port at the beginning and why that tells me so much about EVELO. It's a port for their range extender battery pack that goes on the rear rack of the Omega. The fact that they added a well-integrated port into the frame for easy plug-in shows me that EVELO has excellent attention to detail. Many other e-bikes require you to take apart the motor's housing and redo the cabling just to add a range extender, something that can be quite painful to do. Not EVELO. They've been making e-bikes since 2012 and it shows. Speaking of attention to detail, I appreciate that EVELO has wrapped the front cables of the Omega. The frame battery is also well integrated. The brakes have a cutoff switch so that when you apply the brakes, the motor immediately cuts off. Also, the display is high quality and it's color. All in all, the Omega is impressive. But before we wrap up, I want to cover a few things about EVELO, the company, that I think are unique. First is that 21-day at-home trial. The fact that they're willing to let you return a bike, no questions asked, for a full refund, and they even pay to ship it back is impressive. I don't know of anyone else in the industry offering that to customers. Also, in a sea of companies that have mixed customer service reviews, EVELO stands out because they staff their phones 7 days a week with real humans. They don't hire customer service specialists. Instead, they just have their bike mechanics or other e-bike specialists answer the phones. There are countless reviews online of people raving about the great customer service that they received from EVELO. Finally, EVELO has a discounted bikes section on their website called Open Box Bikes. These are bikes that were returned during that 21-day at-home trial. You can purchase one of these e-bikes for usually $400 off the new price. However, because so many customers are satisfied with their e-bikes and decide to keep them, there aren't that many available. Nevertheless, it's worth checking out this section just to see what's on there. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you already have an EVELO e-bike, share your experience in the comments, and happy riding.